Encouraging words about the U.S. economy today from Ben Bernanke. In his first public speech since stepping down as chairman of the Federal Reserve at the end of January, Bernanke spoke at a financial conference in the United Arab Emirates, saying the outlook for the U.S. is positive compared to the rest of the industrialized world. And he believes the U.S. economy will continue growing at a rate of around 3% this year.
President Obama may be counting on that kind of growth or even more for the year ahead as he unveiled a proposed $3.9 trillion federal budget for the year 2015, fiscal year that is. It focuses on ending tax breaks for the wealthy in order to pay for massive improvement projects for the nation's crumbling infrastructure.
Our budget is about choices. It's about our values. As a country, we've got to make a decision if we're going to protect tax breaks for the wealthiest Americans, or if we're going to make smart investments necessary to create jobs and grow our economy and expand opportunity for every American.
But the president's proposed budget is not likely to get through Congress anytime soon. John Harwood joins us now from the White House with more. John, what is in the president's budget and how much of it's new?
Well, what's in the president's budget, Tyler, reflects the parameters that were established in the bipartisan budget deal, specifically domestic spending or so-called discretionary spending, both defense and on programs for ordinary Americans of about $1.2 trillion. But the president also is putting in some proposals that aim higher toward whenever it is that Congress decides, Democrats and Republicans, that they can make a larger budget deal that would curb entitlement spending, raise some taxes. But for now, he's looking for a little bit more in his priority areas and looking to do some business with Republicans.
John, it sounds like many of the elements of the budget have been proposed before. I'm sure, though, the Republicans have a lot to say about those proposals. What was the Republican reaction?
The Republican reaction is essentially that this is a status quo budget that doesn't change anything. A lot of that's true because many of the proposals, raising taxes of different kinds on the wealthy, whether it's closing the carried interest loophole or limiting deductions for wealthy people, are things that are familiar that have been proposed and ignored by Congress in the past. But what both sides have agreed right now, they're really not going to have a big budget fight. So the president's budget lays out sort of a campaign manifesto for Democrats. This is what we would do if we were in charge. Republicans are going to do the same with their own budget.
So there's not going to be a big budget fight here. So what's important about this budget then in the last analysis?
Well, two things. First of all, you may get some modest increases, Tyler, in spending on early childhood education, on tax credits for the working poor, perhaps for infrastructure as well. But longer term, what's important is that this budget, like the one Republicans will lay out, will establish markers for those future negotiations. It's just like Dave Camp's tax reform proposal that he put out last week. It's not going to become law this year, but some of those things eventually will become law. It's just that as we've come to learn, things take a pretty long time in a gridlocked Washington.
All right. And spring doesn't look like it's ever going to come to Washington there on the North Lawn. John Harwood.
It doesn't feel that way today.
I'm sure it doesn't. Thanks very much, John.